Abraham, Moses, Jonah, Noah, David, Joseph, Elisha, Daniel, Hezekiah, Esther, Ruth, Peter, James, John, and even Jesus all had this in common when it came to waiting on God. Hey friends, today on The Simple Truth, we are going to talk about waiting on God again and why people miss the promise of God in their life. In a recent video, I talked about God doesn't want us to touch the promise that He's given us too soon. If you want to pause the video or come back to it and watch it, that video is right here. Today, we're going to be talking about something very similar. Similar, but not exactly the same. You see, in that video, we talked about how sometimes when God gives us the promise in our life, we might want to run right into it. And we're trying to figure out, why does God make us wait so long before the promise is fulfilled? And all the people I mentioned in the beginning of this video can relate to that. However, sometimes we don't receive the promise of God because we don't believe it. We don't miss it necessarily because we don't think God can do it. We miss it because we don't believe that we can do it or that we're worthy of it. In some circumstances, when we feel like we're waiting too long on God's promise, it's because we're doubting God. But other times, we might not doubt God. What we're doubting is that God wants us to do it.
I say no when it feels so good to say yes.
Not that God can't do it, but that God can't do it through us. Let me tell you what I mean. I love to tell stories in such a way that they're tangible, similar to the way that Jesus taught parables, so that people can understand the Word of God in story form. It's something that I love to do. So let me tell you a story real quick of one that I think you can relate to in the West. Amazon is one of the biggest companies on the planet and has become a big part of our convenience these days for us to go online and order whatever we want and have it show up at our door. Maybe you guys have experienced Amazon. I love Amazon. When I'm in the States, I use it all the time. Well, when I order a package, let's use this example. When I order a package, I can track that package. In fact, in some circumstances, whether it's an Uber driver or an Uber Eats or something similar to Amazon or even an Amazon package, I can track the location from the package start, being packed, sent out. I could see what street it's on. I could see it's passing this street and then this street. I could see that the person is walking from this house to this corner. And literally, it could be right within my grasp and about to be put on my front door. And how crazy would it be if I decided right as it was going to come into my street to say, it's not coming.
Let me tell you something. You're suspect. Yeah, you. I don't know what your reputation is in this town, but after that, you can bet I'll be looking into you.
And just leave. Well, sometimes that's what we do with God.
Oh, easy. Nah, I didn't say that. Allegedly.
I heard someone tell a very similar story to this the other day on a podcast, and I thought, man, I got to share it with you all, because I was trying to find words for this exact point. Oftentimes what we do is God gives us a promise and we're watching it come closer and closer, or we're even believing that He can bring it closer and closer. But right before it gets dropped off at our door, we not only stop believing that we're gonna receive it, we actually pack all of our bags and we move from that location to a completely different location and try to start again asking God for something.
You're a madman. I've come to the right place then.
That may sound wild, but think about it. Or maybe in your life you've experienced where you feel like it's so close what God's promised you, and then last second we make our own decision in our own strength to switch jobs, or to not leave a job when we feel like we're supposed to try to figure something out financially on our own and get into debt instead of waiting on provision. Maybe we try to solve an issue relationally instead of waiting on someone else. Oftentimes, in our own doubt of ourselves that something can happen in God, we literally, as the package is being delivered to our door, we decide it's not going to come. We close the door, we pack up all of our stuff, and we move locations to a completely different town, country, city, change our life, change our perspective, everything around us, and never receive the package that was literally there.
I want to be friends no more.
Now here's the thing. If that was an actual Amazon package, we couldn't doubt, or we couldn't debate the fact that it's an actual package. If we walked out our door and looked down and touched the cardboard box and opened it up, we would literally see the package. But the moment that we believe that it's not going to come any further than it's come from the Amazon shipping department, it's come all the way down our street, it's gotten into a car, it's come down other streets, it has a person walking up to our front porch, and before we let it be dropped on our porch.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah!
We leave. Now, many times that box can get delivered, right, in an Amazon situation, and we hear about porch pirates. People could come in and try to steal it. But in that case, God provides something else for us. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about us. We don't believe that it's actually going to show up, and it's right there about to show up. Now, if I did that in real life and decided, oh, it's not going to come, I'm just going to go to the grocery store and I'm going to go think about something else. When I came back and the package was on my front porch, I'd have a decision to make on whether I actually picked it up and brought it to my house, or if I left it there and kept believing that it's not there. And it wouldn't matter if I believed it or not. The package is actually there. It exists. It's there. It's almost like if you had $1,000 sitting in your checking account, but you kept asking the person that owed it to you to give it to you, but you just won't open up the actual checking account and look to see if it's been deposited.
And that's the truth, man. That's the truth. Can you handle it? It's just a question between friends. You know?
Now, I'm not talking about some prosperity or faith message. I'm talking about actual delivery. Sometimes we don't believe when God's shown us a promise and it starts to come our direction and we see it heading that way, we get so impatient, not with God, with ourselves, that we can't receive it. We don't believe it. We don't believe that it's actually for us. Now that the package is so close, I don't know if I can receive it. So I wanted to say to us today with that, sometimes in the waiting, we miss out on what God's doing because we don't believe. So why did I mention all those people in the beginning of the video? Every one of them kept moving in the promise that God had put on their life as if the package was about to be delivered. So Abraham, all the way to the point of Isaac being sacrificed, knew that God would resurrect him. The package had been delivered. The promise had been delivered. So he operated in the mindset the package was on its way and it was actually going to be delivered. It already existed. All right. Moses did the same thing with the people of Egypt when they freed. The freedom of the people of Egypt had already been declared. The package had been delivered. He believed it. He just hadn't opened it yet. And after the 10th plague, they all left to the wilderness free. Joseph, 13 years in jail, knew that God was going to make him an elder over not only Egypt, but his country and also his family. He operated as if it was already done. King David did this better than anyone. He knew the package was going to be delivered, and so he operated as if it had been, or as if it was about to be put on the porch. Sometimes we get frustrated because we're wondering how long we need to wait, and that can rob the promise of God in our life. But sometimes it's literally being delivered, and we choose not to believe that it will be.
Just shut up. Play the game. Play it from your heart. And you know what? I will show you the Quan.
The promise has been said. He hasn't necessarily told us how long, but we can see it tracking to us, and then we don't believe it's actually going to happen. Everyone I mentioned in the beginning, Noah, when he was building the ark, had never seen rain before. They had never seen a boat before. But he knew that what God told him to do was going to present the package that the promise that he was giving him to be fulfilled. Hopefully that makes sense today. Hope that encourages your heart that you need to receive and believe the word that God has said to you through his son Jesus. Jesus said it like this: if you will abide to be my disciple, you will abide in my word, and then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. You see, friends, we have to know that the package is about to be dropped off on the door, and that is less important even than knowing that the package exists. When God says, I've ordered you something on Amazon in your life, and this is the package, we need to believe it. We need to believe it and know that that package exists. And then when God says it's on the front porch, open it, then we bring it in the house and open it. Hope that makes sense. That's the simple truth for today. We love you. If you're a man of God and you're seeking God and you're desiring to grow in him, the next 8 weeks starting this Saturday, I am going to be having an event called We Are Ships. For 8 weeks, we're going to get together with men and we are going to learn how to believe and walk in the promises of God like the one in this video. If that's you, just comment, I'm in, and I will send you the link. See you guys later.